Hey guys, my name is Ryan and welcome to Overwatch Central. So it's a little bit of a roundup of two topics here that I want to sort of focus on today. Two very different things, but both quite recent in news. The first thing we're going to start with is the comic. I first of all definitely recommend you checking out this comic. I know that some people aren't necessarily as interested in some of the stories that are in the comics. They tend to be quite standalone, much like the May animation, that it's not really adding on to any of the lore that's going on. But this one's fairly interesting. It really does progress the story a little bit more, and certainly more eyes are going to be on BlizzCon, which we should hopefully see another animated short there, and maybe it's a progression on from this. The main thing that I kind of want to go over here is basically this sort of page and panel. This is where stuff gets really interesting, where Zarya and Sombra square off. Probably the most interesting information that we got out of this was Sombra's name being Olivia Colomar. Now again, I don't necessarily want to spoil what goes on, but there's certainly a really interesting panel where the two sort of come together, and all of the lies and deceit between Sombra and Katya Volskaya start to fall apart, and bonds start to form between an unlikely alliance between Sombra and Zarya. It really sets up what the interaction between Zarya and Katya is going to be. We also got an interesting character in there as well, who I don't think is going to be the next hero before anybody asks. But this is probably one of the best comics that's come out in quite some time. I like this one. I like the Doomfist one as well. When I first saw that this comic was going to be a progression from the Zarya story, I was kind of a bit irked, I guess, that like, oh, this would have made a really good animation. I want to see what the encounter between Zarya and Sombra is going to be like. But with the amount of action in it, it's more story development and progression of both the heroes. I think I preferred it in a text and picture format than an animation. But again, there's some really interesting stuff in there, which I'm not going to spoil for you, so do check it out. But the main thing I want to sort of show is that we now have a bit more details on how Sombra reacts. And there's some pretty good Easter eggs in there as well. But I'll leave it to our friend Hammy to maybe have a look into more of that. The sort of back end of this video focuses on one thing in particular, and that's Ana, who is struggling tremendously since New Mercy's been added into the game. This isn't based off our own experiences or anything like that. Looking at the likes of Overbuff and other websites that track stats, you can see that Ana's win rate across the board is one of the lowest in the game, being sub 40% across all the tiers on console, but also just being above 40% on PC. Now, it comes as no surprise why this may be. New Mercy just outputs a lot more healing, could bring people back from the dead. Overall, as we did a discussion with one amongst many here, and he summed it up really nicely here, there's no reason why you wouldn't play Mercy anymore. She's that good. When it comes to the discussion of whether she'll get nerfed, I think it's more than likely at this point. How so? I don't necessarily know. Blizzard have to be very careful with how they approach this, but in the current state that Mercy is in, she is far too strong to be in the game. She's a complete must pick a lot of the time. I don't mind the new playstyle of her, I just think it's a little bit too much and a little bit too obnoxious to deal with and also have on your team. Never have we had any changes that have gone in like this that have truly changed the game like this, and no hero has been in Ana's situation. This also raises the question of, actually, should we buff Ana back again? She was nerfed tremendously over time, this time sort of last year, because she was so popular. She was a must pick then as well. With the speed boost that was put on, Nano boost taken off from her, the damage that her shot's done also being nerfed. There are changes that the community on the likes of Reddit and on the forums have said, hey, why don't we get this back? If you're not going to sort of change Mercy, keep her as it is, then buff Ana so she's in a much crazy position as well. And I think that really plays into what Blizzard like to do when it comes to changing heroes. They don't like to nerf, they like to buff. So that might be a possibility for Ana in the long run. But it's really unfortunate to see such a strong hero that has been, you know, fairly balanced all through this time. They finally found a sweet spot for her that she was in a good amount of teams. Now, she's currently not really being used. But I do want to know what you think of this in particular. Mercy players, Ana players, console players especially. Like, Ana is the worst hero on console by a long shot because it requires aim. And I think the main thing goes that Ana is a mechanically dependent hero. If you're good at mechanics, you should be able to thrive off playing Ana. You should be able to do a better job on Ana than you can on Mercy, considering how much mechanical depth there is in Ana. But that's no longer the case with how good New Mercy is. So it's a little bit of an interesting discussion there. I want to know what you guys think in the comments below. And also let me know what you think of the comic. I really did enjoy it. I couldn't recommend it enough. But we're starting to find out a little bit more about the woman that holds all of the keys. And also the key to my heart, because I love Sombra. Also, what do you think is going to be next for the story of Zarya, Katya, and Sombra? And do you think any other heroes are going to get involved with what they're doing? But that's it for this time. Thank you very much for watching. Take care. We'll see you next time.